Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. So today we're actually going in a little bit of a different direction. We're going to get a little bit more intimate, and it's actually going to be between you and I. You are the ones that are going to be asking me the questions. And I have on with me a dear friend. Actually, I call her my partner in crime at Inside Out because everything we do, we really do together now. And I have to say, I just adore collaborating with this woman. Maybe we'll even talk about that and how I met her during this conversation. So Lisa Silvera is going to be on today, and she has been assimilating all these questions that people have asked. They've sent in, they've DM'd, they got on the website, they ask questions. Sometimes even a lot of the questions that are asked at a lot of the big speaking engagements that I do. So I believe, I trust, because I know Lisa, she put together some really good questions that I'm going to answer today. So I'm really excited about that. So let's get started. But first, okay, we have to ground ourselves. I probably need a little more grounding today. Ground ourselves in our big, deep breaths. Okay, so we're going to do those big, deep, healthy, healing breaths. We're going to fill up our lungs with love. So let's do it. 5 counts in. Hold your breath. Exhale energy. Inhale love right from the bottom of your feet. Inhale. Fill up your lungs. Smile, smile. Exhale, ha. One last time, okay? Make it big, make it good, make it juicy. Inhale, love. Hold your breath. Exhale, ha, ha. Okay, let's get this party started. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lavinia. Hey, everyone.
Look how beautiful she looks with that blue background. Girl,
we like to keep it pretty.
It even looks a little bluer. Amazing.
You look gorgeous today. How are you?
Good, really good. I'm excited about this. I mean, obviously it's something new. We're breaking the mold a little. So let's have some fun.
Good questions. They want to know everything.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, let's get to it.
Wait, so can I, if I'm not comfortable answering, can I be like, no, I'm not going to answer that question?
It's a hot seat. You're on the hot seat.
I'm on the hot seat?
Yes, you are on the hot seat.
All right, girl.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Girl, you got it. Okay, this is so good. This is like a 3-part question.
Okay.
And everybody wants to know about this. They want to know, how did you meet your husband? What was it like to date again in your late 40s? And how did you know that he was the one?
Oh my God. Like, that's like how we're starting this.
We're getting right in it.
Okay. So what was the first one what was it like to date in my mid 40s?
No, how did you meet your husband?
Oh, how did I meet my husband? Okay. So I feel like I need to just give you a little bit of a backstory, just so people understand where I was, like, in my life, where I thought I was going. So first of all, like you said, I was in my mid 40s. I was at a place in my life where I was sort of like totally okay that I wasn't in this lifetime, that I wasn't going to meet my person. Like all these people that had like these soulmates, and they talked to me about their soulmates. And I was just like, that's amazing. I wasn't even really sure if I believed it, but because I never experienced that type of an experience, like I never thought, oh my God, like, so I just thought, okay, that's great, but it's not for me. This lifetime, I got so many other great things that I was always so appreciative for. And I was just like, I guess that soulmate thing, that person isn't in my energy field, and I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. So, I was very fortunate that I sort of had this life that I was creating. I thought when my son went away to college, I had already had a amazing house in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. And I love going there. And I had sort of a really great group of friends and a community there. And I thought, okay, I'll spend more time there. And then I thought I bought a little place in Aspen because I love snowboarding and I love the summers in Aspen. And I also have great friends in Aspen. And I thought, okay, I'll spend time in Aspen. And then I thought, since I was based out of LA, I'll also have like a cute little apartment in New York. So I get to spend a lot of time with my family and friends back there. And I just kind of thought, like, I'm just going to have a lover in every port.
Love that so much. As
And
a fan.
and I was really like okay with that. Like I was just okay with like, you know what? That's just how it's going to be. And I was getting really comfortable with that idea. And then you know that like saying, tell God your plan. Well, so I kind of had all that going. And then in the interim of that, and I was kind of seeing that, envisioning that happening. But at the same time, I was working on myself. And I was working on myself with this woman whose specialty, I didn't know it when I signed up for it, by the way. It was sort of like, I found out when I was like halfway through that her specialty was with women was really connecting into your feminine. And the reason I say I didn't know that was because I probably wouldn't have signed up for it because I would have thought like, oh, I have that taken care of. Like I am like, I'm so girly, you know, I'm so about my hair and my nails and looking a certain way. And I love to dress.
Modern femme fatale. Like
I really did. I really kind of thought like I wouldn't have signed up for that because I would have thought I have that taken care of.
Yeah.
I have the sexy thing. I'm like good. And then I got into it, you know, a couple of months and I realized there was this huge incongruency because for so long I'd been the power woman. I put so much energy being the strong, the entrepreneur, the woman, the, you know, raising my, you know, being a single mom, taking care of the household, taking care of my real estate, you know, like I was the one negotiating when, you know, like you needed a new seat, needed a new roof on the house. Like I was all in my man, all in my like alpha energy. But I didn't realize that because I just always thought I was so feminine. So as I was working with her and started to peel away layers of the onion, I realized things about myself. And then all of a sudden I had this shift of, well, wait a minute, maybe I do. As I got more in my femininity and I got more in touch with that, I thought, well, maybe I do want that person. Maybe that is what I want. And then I started thinking about that and what I would want. And she had me starting to make a list of the traits that I wanted, the values that I wanted in a man. And I knew I wanted a strong man. I knew I wanted what I would call like an alpha male. I knew I wanted a male that was self-actualized. I knew I wanted a man that had worked on himself emotionally, not just worked on his career and bank account, because I had those when I dated, but I knew I needed a man who worked on himself emotionally and mentally and psychologically and was living a more authentic life. And it was really interesting because as I would tell my friends that, they'd be like, yeah, girl, where are you going to find him? It was like, good luck. And I was just like, but then again, you know, you have to also realize I had this other plan of having these lovers. So I wasn't like, oh my God, I got to find him. I was like playing. I was in the energy of just playing and seeing where it was gonna all, you know, show up. And so as I was doing that, I was away with actually Dr. Bennett, with Suzanne Bennett. We were away for a few days down in Mexico. And I remember so clearly sitting on her little porch in the back and saying, Suzanne, I don't know, but I know something is coming in my life. Like I could just feel it. And she's like, well, what do you mean, Lavinia? And I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if it's what it is. I don't know if it's a relationship. There were also some couple amazing projects that I were working on that were starting to pop. I didn't know if it was going to be that. I just said, I just feel it. I feel it in my heart. Like I feel it energetically that something is going to happen in my life that's going to actually change my trajectory in such a huge way. And I was honest with her, because Suzanne is definitely one of the girls who I share, take that mask off and I share honestly. I said, but deep down, I am really hoping that it's going to be a love partner. Like, I was like, it was the first time I really had said that, because I was always like, not, I don't know, it wasn't what I was manifesting on some level. And she was like, oh my God, I have a client who owns a dating service. Let's sign you up for this dating service. And I was just like, oh, I don't know about a dating service. Like, I'm not sure. And she's like, no, let's do it. Let's do it. Anyway, long story, we end up signing me up for the dating service. And, I go, when we get back from Mexico, I go and I meet with one of the lovely girls, and she was like, oh, you're going to be easy to set up. And I'm thinking, okay. Anyway, but then like 2 weeks later, I go to my doctor's office, who I hadn't seen this one doctor in a while, Dr. Hagopian. He's an amazing osteopath. And he said to me, you still have this? Because I had a little issue with my lower back. And, he was always trying to get me to slow down. He's like, kept saying, Lavinia, you're at this age where you shouldn't be working out like that. You need to like slow down. And I'm thinking, it's just not going to happen. I like working out at a certain intensity, certainly then. Anyway, so he said to me, there's this mind body coach. I'm not even sure what he does, but I've had clients that have worked with him and they have gotten really amazing results. And he gave me his name and he gave me this other woman, 2 names. And he said, if I were you, I'd interview both of them, because I think there's something that you're doing that is creating this imbalance in your body. And it's been going on long enough. I think you need to address it on another level. So anyway, I went downstairs in the car. I looked at the 2 names. I just closed my eyes and Eric Duro shows up. And I was like, I'm going to call him first. And I call him. And first of all, his voice, first he has a French accent and this deep voice. Hello, you reached Eric. Leave a message. And I was like, I was already having this visceral response to my body. And anyway, so I leave the message. Hi, this is Lavinia. I've been referred to you by Dr. Hagopian. Heard a little bit about what you do. Love to meet with you and see if possibility to work together. He calls me back like a day later and he says, I just want to be honest. I'm not taking on new clients right now. He said, my schedule is so packed, but I'll meet you just in respect to Dr. Hagopian. So at that point, I'm thinking, well, who is that book that they're not taking on new clients? Like, now I am beyond curious of what this man does, especially because I thought I know so much about the mind body. Like, so anyway, so we go and we meet and I leave. And it was interesting because he said to me, the only way I would be able to work with you would be a la carte. And I'm thinking, a la carte? Like, what am I, a side dish? Like, but again, English was not his first language, okay? So I'm like, a la carte? And he's like, yes, a la carte. He said, when I have a cancellation, I can call you and we could see. And I'm like, okay, let's try that. So he calls me like a week later. I have a cancellation at 2:00 in the afternoon. And I'm thinking, I have pickup at 3. I'm like, I'll take it.
Boom.
I don't know. I just felt this connection. Anyway, so I worked with him a few times. I kept talking to him like, how do I pay you? And he was just like, just kind of disregarding that. And then on a Sunday, he says to me, I need to see you on a bike. Or like one time he says to me, I need to see you on a bike, because I was biking a lot at that time. He said, maybe your seat is off. Maybe we just need to adjust that. Okay, fine. He says, well, let's do it on a Sunday. I don't see clients. I meet them. And I'm coming from the spiritual center that I was going to at the time. And then he says to me, oh, well, he asked me where I came from. And I said, oh, I came from, Agape. And he's like, oh, a lot of my clients' kids go to Agape. And he said, I've never been. And I said, well, if you ever want to go, I go every Wednesday and every Sunday. And he was like, sure, I'd love to go. I'm curious about it. And so technically our first date was at Agape.
Oh my Did you
And
have your
that,
curiosity about this stuff? Where you your curiosity starting to build and get it was such feels so mysterious.
and it was just, it was a girlfriend of mine, actually, the girlfriend who's coming on Saturday, Allison, was with us at Agape. And the next day she said to me, "Oh my God, Lavinia," she said, "the energy between you two, it was like a magnet, was just like holding you together." And she's like, "I have never, ever, ever in my life seen you like that." I said, "I can't explain it. There's just something about this man. Like I felt more, I felt like I met family. Like, oh my God, you're more family to me than my family." And the thing that was so interesting is he felt exactly the same way. Even when he heard my voice on the phone, he said, "Oh my gosh, she has a voice like an angel. Who's this little angel?" So we both had this visceral response, like before we even saw each other or met each other. And that's it. Like that's really how we met. And it's interesting because the way we dated was, again, the first, I've always saw him in workout clothes. Even when we started dating, like it was hiking, we went hiking, we went mountain biking, and then he would come to my house. Like our dating was with my son, and actually at the time I had my a teenage second cousin living with us too.
Yeah.
So like there was no like putting on sexy clothes, doing my hair. There was no like interviewing each other. Like we didn't have that. It was like come and have dinner with me and my family. Like he got to see the real me, like right from the beginning. There was none of that other stuff that so often happens. I mean, it takes you a while to get to know the person and really see who they really are. Like it was just out there. And I never had done that either. So for me, that was like the most amazing organic way to connect with someone.
Yeah.
Um,
It sounds so beautiful and so solid. Like it just feels like you had such a great start that
yeah.
it couldn't fail. It's beautiful.
I mean, I met him in the beginning of November, and I brought him back to be with my family at Christmas. And even my mom said to me, I'll never forget this. She said to me, "Don't screw this up, Lavinia." And I was like, "What?" I said, "What?" She's like, "No, Lavinia, I'm telling you, he's good for you. He is really good for you. He's strong. He's solid. He's direct. He's good for you, Levin. Don't screw this up." And I was like, "Why would I be screwing it up?" And she just kind of looked at me like,
Because
yeah. So it was just, even my family, like he made us laugh. He was funny. It was just so natural. It just, like I said, right from hello, I felt I had a response, and I felt like I was meeting my family. Like you're like more family to me than anybody I'd ever met.
it's very encouraging too for a lot of our audience to see just sort of your beginnings and know that you have this very, very strong and beautiful marriage and sort of beginnings of all that.
Well, the other thing that I really realized is that when you're a strong woman, you do have to do a little bit of work on yourself, because you have to be able to meet strong with strong.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I didn't do some of that work to really connect to my femininity and to be able to receive. If we would have been able to, it almost would have been two strong people together. Usually, I mean, it's even what I've dated in the past or something is more like the yin and the yang.
Mm-hmm.
But what I noticed is that's not really what I wanted. I wanted strong, but then I had to be able to meet strong. And so I really believe if I didn't work on myself those last 6 months to connect to my femininity and my receiving and more gentle and more tender and not just like taking over, because I can literally be like that takeover woman. I don't know if I would have, if that it would have worked as beautifully. So, again, the takeaway really for this would be like, we have to, when we know what we want, we have to work on ourselves a little bit to be able to complement each other in a really authentic, loving, gentle way. So I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you that I did that course, because worked with that person, because I know it made a huge difference.
Ready to receive that love. Oh my goodness, I love this question. They're really coming after you. Audience, great job with these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are 3 rituals that you do every day and you feel that you absolutely cannot live without? Like even on a desert island, like these are 3 things that you have to do to make you Lavinia when you get up.
I mean, first of all, I have about 25 that I do a day, that
I
that
get
I
there.
feel that I feel that way with. So let me think. First of all, when I wake up in the morning, I literally, and I've been doing this for 15 years, I literally do my gratitude list. And I no longer write it. I would say for the first 5 years, I literally wrote it out. I would sit up in bed, I would have right there. And before I would even get out of bed, I would just write. And today it's interesting because like I start rolling. And as soon as I start rolling, which is usually about 5:45, it's now I'm just conditioned.
Uh,
My mind just starts going. Well, first I usually like, I roll and I kind of like hug my husband. And then I'm like, I start with him.
yeah.
I just start with like, I'm so grateful, whatever you came into my life. I'm just so grateful that I have you. I'm grateful that you're healthy. And I just go through that. And then I go through my own and, you know, the reason why, because there's always the why you do it, right? The reason why I love that is because that's the vibration I get out of bed with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm literally know that that list is literally filling me up with a vibration, with an energy, like because you're the vibration of what you attract.
100%.
And I want to get out of the bed with that level, with that vibration, because that vibration of gratitude is a high vibration. It's like the vibration of love, or it's like the vibration of bliss, of joy, of like, I know that it's like, I just know that I'm like filling myself up in this big bubble of love and gratitude. And I'm filling myself up with that. So instead of like getting out of bed and be like, oh, my back hurts, or
Yeah.
oh, I'm achy, or oh, I didn't have a good night's sleep. Oh, I wish I would have had more hours. Oh, it's cold, whatever. I don't even go there. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't. Now, not to say that I don't have aches or pains or those thoughts, but when you start you're in that, it's like you coast through that.
It's like you set your bar at such a great, high, grateful place that it's like you give yourself a springboard into a great day. I love that. I'm
Right.
going to just make sure I'm going to re-trigger my gratitude and start with that.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
So
Okay.
I would never not start with that. Like I just know that I need that, for sure.
All right. So it's your gratitude list. That's
It's
one.
definitely my gratitude list. The second one would be I definitely have to move every day. Like I mean, you have to realize I'm just bringing this down to 3. Like there are so many others that I think are so important, but 3. Um, I have to move. If I don't move, I get cranky. I mean, even my husband will be, if it's 4 o'clock and I haven't moved, he's like, honey, get on the bike. Honey, you need to go outside and do yoga, because he knows that I just can get kind of like cranky if I don't move my body. Like I just need, like my body needs to move. So that is something, and because of it, I tend to like to work out in the morning, because I believe you got to get this stuff done early. Like get on it, like get doing. So that's very rare that it'll be 4 o'clock and I haven't worked out, but yeah, so I like to get it in early, and I do plan it. You know, I'm big, my whole life is about planning. And if you have it in your, so I know what I like. This morning I did yoga. So I already had it planned out. I'm doing an online yoga that I love. Of course, none of us go in classes. And last night I even chose which one I was going to do. I went through all the videos and decided. So I had it in my book, you know, in my calendar. I'm doing yoga. This is the class I'm doing. It was an hour and 15 minutes. And I even had my yoga mat and everything set up, ready to go this
Because
morning.
you put it in such an absolute way that you really prevent yourself from slipping as best as you can. Like you know
Exactly.
that you're going to get it done.
And that's what I think, that's what rituals are. And then it makes you clear on your intention, and it really, like, rituals are like habits, right? Like, they're creating habits. But when I hear myself say, oh, I'm going to create my rituals, it's like when you do it, it feels more yummy. When you're like habit, it's like heavy,
Right.
like a little heavier. Oh, I got to build.
You're obligated as opposed to like,
Right,
this is
right,
awesome for me.
right. So I have to definitely move. That would definitely be a ritual that I, without course, I have to have that. And then I'd say the third one, mhm. Uh, the third one is, I'm going to give you the one that I'm actually working on the hardest, because it's one that I need. Like, I literally need this, because if I don't have this ritual, I actually can be reactionary. So this ritual I kind of call my respond with grace.
I'm going to write this one down.
And this is the one where, when I'm being triggered, when something is created, like a little bit of, a moment. And usually for me, it's like if somebody's being disrespectful to me, or being disrespectful to someone I love, or being disrespectful to people I care about or work with, or, really for me, it's anyone's being disrespectful to anyone. Like, I guess because respect of self, respect of others is it is one of my core values to the root. So when I feel like somebody is being really disrespectful, it triggers me. And, because I am strong and I'm pretty much can communicate pretty quickly on something, but I did notice that when I'm triggered, I can be a little reactionary, and I can be, my words can be a little bit too strong, little bit too much pressure, a little too much. And then what happens is, now you're in a situation with this person. There's a confrontation. And I think, you know what, that's not an elevated way that I want to go through my life. So for me, it's like, I respond with grace. So for me to do that, the first thing I have to do is, I am not going to respond within 48 to 72 hours.
Love that.
So I have that's my first thing. And then second thing that I do is, I go in and I love to journal. And that's why I talk to everybody so much about journaling, because writing is something that I do every single day to get in touch with, like, so for me, if I felt triggered, first I go in and I say, okay, what really triggered me?
Yeah.
Now, was this like an old wound for me, or is this actually a situation between the two of us? So I have to kind of do a little bit of work on that, because I really believe it takes two to tango.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have to look at, how am I responsible for this as well? Energetically, possibly where there hasn't been enough clarity, where there hasn't been certain steps of communication that possibly needed to be communicated in order to not have this moment of confrontation or disrespect. I always try to give the other person the benefit of the doubt. Like, but I have to kind of write that, and I have to kind of get in touch with that. It just doesn't happen, to have a more elevated, excuse me?
It seems like also you're just really honest about serving the whole situation.
Right.
And figuring out like the landscape of the situation, so that you can go forward thoughtfully.
Right. And also decide, like I said, my husband was a mind body coach, and so much being with him in the last 10, 11 years, I've learned so much. And one of the things my husband always has said to me is, Lavinia, you can't you can't ask a blind person to see.
Yeah.
So, and because I'm such a visual person and a visual learner, meaning if you're having an issue and being triggered by someone, you wouldn't say to a blind person, wow, look how beautiful that rainbow is.
Right.
That would be mean. They would say, but I can't see it. Come on, you can see it.
And it's expectation. Like,
I know you can see it. And the person's like, no, I can't see it. I'm blind. And he says, you know, it's the same thing when you're been triggered by someone who is emotionally blind or psychologically blind, metaphorically speaking. And they can't understand how they did it, why you're so hurt or uncomfortable with it. So Lavinia, you have to just say, you know what? I'm not going to have that conversation with them because, again, no different than the blind person. I'm not going to ask them. So that's all part of the process. That's all part understanding so that you can actually have more elevated, more loving, more authentic conversations, but with the people that are evolved, that are awakened, that are conscious. You can't try to have conversations with people that aren't awakened, that aren't conscious, that aren't evolved. Those are the people you talk about, like Shark Tank and the weather and COVID. Right. You don't talk about more intimate, more heartfelt, things with. So that is, I mean, I know that's probably long-winded, but that's how I look at my self-care rituals, because I have to take care of my emotional self. I have to take care of my nervous system. Mm-hmm. Self-care for me are rituals that take care of my nervous system, because our nervous systems, when they go wackadoo, we go wackadoo.
Yeah. I have a question here actually from someone who I think you really hit on something for them, that they want to know, like, when you get into a funk or feel like anxious or anything like that in the moment,
yeah, mm-hmm.
How do you change your state? They're looking for a tool, like something to just, like, snap. You know how you do that thing where you say, snap out of it? Yeah. What's your snap out of it tool?
So, well, I would say my instant snap out of it is when I'm feeling it coming from someone. Yeah. I really use this trick that Heather taught me. And when I tell you, I learned this trick from her in 2005, and I still use it. It works. When I'm seeing them complaining, or if it's over the phone and I'm hearing gossiping or like something, I literally see it coming in as a big bowling ball and it goes away. And I just see all that energy and all that complaining and all that gossiping and all that whatever. And I roll away. I let it roll away from me. Just the other thing that I love, and I do this a lot, is I learned this through through Dr. Levry, is because I tend to be hot, meaning I have a lot of fire in me. Like I'm that girl, I always kind of joke and I say it's the Italian Jersey girl, but it means I'm fiery, like I'm fiery. So there was something that I learned from them that I do all the time. It doesn't look really pretty, so I will let you know that it's called, and there is a Hindu or whatever name for it, but I don't know that. I just know it as taco breath or taco breathing. And what you basically do is you take your tongue and you make perfect. You're so good at that, Lisa. And you literally go. And even if you have, by the way, it's great if you're hot. Like I've taught this to my friends who are going through menopause when they get hot, or if you have a lot of inflammation in the body, but it also works on just heating down the temper, heating down. And you just go like this and you make a noise. So you're sucking it in. And you do that a few times. You just actually, I could feel it cooling down.
It's like an air conditioner in your throat.
Exactly. It's an air conditioner, and it cools you down. It cools your brain down. So I found for me, if I just calm down, I cool down, I do that little technique. I see the bowling ball just go away from me. I don't own that. That's their stuff. It's not my stuff. It's their business.
Yeah.
I don't need to get involved in their business. But what I would say to people before is you have to, and this is going to be Saturdays. And I love, love, love what we're doing on Saturday, because it's really having clear understanding where everybody is in your circles. And so that you go into conversations knowing, not being disappointed, you have to understand what what you can expect from that person.
Reasonable expectations.
Yeah. And you're managing your expectations because you have some clarity. So I think those are the key things for me that I do to just to calm down.
Okay, amazing. Let's see. What is the most fun thing? Oh, and this is awesome too, because we want everyone to also go to laviniaerrico.com. And this question we want you to also answer on the website.
Oh my God.
Question, Lavinia. What is the most fun thing you've done during the corona shutdown and quarantine? Like, what's the thing that has brought you the most joy? It can be anything.
I mean, probably the Friday dance classes that we're doing. First of all, for the last, I don't know how many years, I've always danced on Fridays at 10:30, doing this Groove 3 class that I just love, 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 at NAM. And I love my community of dancers and the people. Like, I walk in that class, not just excited to move, but, you know, to be with all these fabulous women, and not just women, we have a couple men in there. But when that happened, I thought, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do if I can't dance? And then I did a couple, like I remember Debbie Allen did a Facebook Live, and I did that. And I thought, okay, this is kind of cool. And then I was thinking, like, okay, like, let's do one. And then, you know, I called Sindra, I always say her name wrong.
Silvera, I think.
Sindra. I call Sindra, who I've taken her class quite a few times. And it's interesting because her classes are very feminine. Like,
she's so sexy.
She's very sexy. And I was like, God, we're going to be here. Like, by the second week, it was just like, you're home, you have no makeup on, you know, you're already not feeling so great. It's like, okay, I need to dance. I need to dance. And the fact that she was like, I'm in, let's do it. And I literally went back to my, like, some friends, because I'm on a group with my dance friends from when I was in grade school and in high school. So Starlight Dance Studio in Hackensack, New Jersey. So I put on there, and some of those women have come on to dance. And now we're up to like 40 or 50 amazing women that come on and they dance. And it's so much, there's a few men too, but when sometimes I just look through the Zoom, I see them and oh my God, it's like, it just feels so good. And they'll even say, I'm so happy that we have this class and we're doing it together. So I would say is the most fun that I've done during this.
Okay. So then if you have the most fun, there's got to always be sort of like an opposite. Can you tell us what has kept you up at night during the pandemic and how do you deal with it?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, like in the beginning, I remember we got off the plane. I was in Mexico, did this beautiful goddess trip on the 15th. And even though we knew stuff was happening, but like then you come home and it was like by the 19th, we're actually in a quarantine and we just know we're quarantining, but we don't have a lot of the information, right? Like, what does it mean? Like you're hearing things, okay, it lives on metal this long and it lives on boxes and it lives on this and it lives on that. And you know, and I literally, my 90-year-old mother-in-law was here from Brussels with us, and she obviously is going to be high risk. And my husband has some health issues, which is clearly going to make him high risk. So it was just like, okay, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? And
what's our plan?
Yeah, well, we didn't really have a plan yet because we were having to get information to really understand. And I remember a couple nights. And then I said to my husband, okay, we have to have a plan. Like, let's create the plan. And once we had that plan, you know, that the grocery shopping was going to look like this, and we put up tables outside, and I put those videos on to show people, which is probably the most views I ever got, was showing people how we did that. Because I think, first of all, my husband's military background, the man knows how to execute a plan. You know, like he knows how to create safety. Like he knows how you bring your whole platoon home safe. So it's so in his.
And with no hysteria. Like
no hysteria. Like it was so calm. We had a plan. of course you teach everybody in the house the plan. You let other people know what the plan is, and we lived and died by it. And, I think we've been, we've been great. And so for me, it's once we got that plan in, then I think it was fine. And of course, I worried a little bit. I wasn't quarantining with my 25-year-old son. So that was definitely kept me up at night. And, I knew that he wasn't keeping the kind of quarantine that we were keeping. I knew when he was going to the grocery store, especially in the beginning, he wasn't wearing gloves and he wasn't wearing that. And so I definitely was up a few nights about that. And, but, I always say, like, where there's fear, there's no faith.
Mhm.
So I just had to really have a plan and just get so enmeshed in my faith, my faith, my faith. And then that's for me what shifts my fear.
Yeah, yeah, because you feel like you're going at it sensibly, and you've got a plan to it. For our audience, it would be lovely if you could go to laviniaerrico.com and also maybe share with us some of your plans about how you decided to sort of go at this, because I think we could share some of that information with everyone on our website. Oh, here's a fun one, because everybody knows that you're a chefess. So if you can tell us what's the best thing that you cooked during quarantine, and if you're going to tell us what it is, you have to share the recipe. Otherwise, we don't want to know.
First of all, I'm also going to tell you something. I do love to cook, but I realized something about myself during this. I love to cook when I have people around.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely like when my friends are coming and, we have a bike group that we ride with, and then afterwards we would all have lunch, and I love to prepare and organize for everyone. And I loved doing my dinner parties and stuff outside. But I also noticed, like, during this quarantine, I was not feeling the whole cooking thing. Like, I'm going to be honest, like, my husband stepped in and really was amazing at cooking. It was just so, like, that was unbelievable, because I just wasn't, like, it wasn't flowing for me. But I will say I did a couple things, and they were a huge success. And that was, I don't know why, but I got inspired to make a paella.
Mm.
So I made a shrimp paella, not shrimp, but a seafood paella.
I saw pictures of it. It even looked great.
I know. I was actually so impressed, because it was the first thing. It was the first time I ever made a paella. And I was a little intimidated at first, because I didn't have the proper pan. I didn't have the paella pan. But I watched a couple, things on YouTube, watching chefs do it. And I thought, I can definitely do this. And because I wanted to do it with brown rice, I did have to make it.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it, of course, healthier, because I take every recipe and make it healthier. But it turned out amazing. Like, my husband, his mom, my stepson, everybody just loved it. It was such a huge, huge success that even, when we meal plan, so we pretty much know what we're going to have for the week. But even the next morning, my husband was like, do you think we could do another paella? I'm like, really? Another seafood paella? He's like, well, I don't know, like maybe a chicken paella.
It's the same thing. He was like, good, and I want it again.
He was just feeling it. So, I mean, it was so successful. We did the chicken paella. And then, like, a week later or 2 weeks later, I made a vegetarian paella. So I feel like, and then of course I was telling my sisters and my cousin and telling my friends. And then before you know it, everybody was making paella. So it was just, I feel like if I had to pick one thing, it would be like paella.
Okay, so then can I confirm that we'll put the recipe up on our website?
Yes, absolutely.
She'll part with the recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a serious one. So what is something that you learned about yourself in this pandemic that was not apparent before? Like something really new or revelation?
I feel like on some level I've learned a lot about myself. Let's see. Well, I learned, well, maybe even just doing this. Like, I remember when we started the conversations, and I mean, this came out of course, all of our conversations about podcasts and the meetings we had with podcasts. And then it was like, okay, that's going to have to be on hold, or maybe not, but somehow. And then all of a sudden, all these people were calling Eric and I about how we're doing the pandemic and what supplements we're taking. And, it became a little bit overwhelming, and what we're doing in the house and how we're, and I thought, God, like so many people want this information. Like, so that's kind of how it started. But then it was like, okay, we're here alone. And I am not good with technology. Like that was a little bit scary for me because as you know, like you've worked with me, I'm like always freaking out about the technology part of it, of anything. So it was doing that. And plus there were aspects of this till it came to form. I mean, even once we started doing it, was like, oh, I'm not good at interviewing. I've never interviewed. I mean, even when people have asked me in the past to moderate, I always am like, no, thank you. I just wasn't, it was to me, moderating or doing the interviewing, it's like a different skill set.
Like you say, your lane. It was just a
Yeah, it's like your lane. And that wasn't my lane, my lane was, yes, I'm comfortable getting up and speaking in front of hundreds or even thousands of people, but to do the interview, I just didn't like, that's another skill set. And I'm always the kind of person that honors skill set and process. I don't believe like, oh, I can do anything. Like, I honor what somebody is great at. And I just kind of put that out there. But because of the circumstances and because I was so passionate about bringing some of this information with all these people that I have just been so blessed to have in my life, and their expertise and their wisdom and their knowledge. Like I so wanted to share it. So it was like, all right, you know what? I got to get out of my comfort zone and do this. Yeah. And that was a big, a big aha moment, because number one, I'm able to handle the technology. Number two, I feel like I love doing this. And like, there's a part of me that feels like, Dad, I'm like, I'm really good at this. Like, I mean, it was a little rocky at times, but like, I'm good at this. I like this. I love connecting with people. I love this community that we're building. I love, all the feedback we're getting. And it's like, it just makes me so like say, like, I'm so happy because, I just went into my like 60th decade. And usually at that age isn't when, especially when people have had a certain level of success, they're not always willing to start like from the bottom to like, and then of course you're doing it in front of a couple hundred people, sometimes now a couple thousand people. And like to fail, like, it's like, I don't want to fail in front of people. So it really has been amazing to, I'm like, wow, okay. I was starting out from the beginning. And one of the things that I love about this process is that it keeps you so like youthful. Like, I can't explain it, but like, I feel so much more youthful because it's like, I'm learning something that's new and I'm doing it and I'm finding mastery in it. And it's like, I understand that like there's something that like gets your body when you're learning like that and you're overcoming and you're finding like it actually keeps you young. Yeah. Like I just had this like big aha moment about that. And the excitement and the enthusiasm and even the nervousness, like, oh my God, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not so sure, and that's all good because it's like a good nervousness. Like I feel like more alive than I have felt in a really long time.
Yeah, so nice also just to see like someone be so vulnerable. Like that's a very vulnerable place to be, and it feels like you embraced it, and it's right.
And the reason I love this for other people is like, all right, people, you can reinvent yourself.
Yes.
It's like, this was my little pandemic, pandemic pivot into like reinvention. And like, everybody can do that out there. Like we can all do that. Like we have to just ground in, have the courage, do the steps, collaborate with some people that to get some information and knowledge from, because I couldn't have done that without, everybody helping with the questions, helping with the writing, creating the format, and then just jump in, like dive in and do it. Because like I say, like with 30 million people losing their jobs, we're going to have to, there's going to be a lot of reinvention, and we can, everybody can do it. We can all do it.
Okay, so this is a great way to go into the next question. So we've grounded down, we figured out our pivot, we're doing okay in this pandemic, but we're all ready to bust out of here.
Mm.
What is it when they open the doors and say, fly, be free? What's like one of the first things that you're going to do when the doors fly open? How are you going to break out?
Well, first of all, I mean, I love that question, but I have to also say that I don't believe we're going to be busting out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't believe it's going to be the day they say. I think this is going to be a gradual. I mean, until that we have the vaccine and we have that, it's not going to be, because, you know, like, let's face it, if they open up stuff in 2 weeks, we're no different than we really were 2 months ago. So for me, and because, you know, my husband's health situation, I can't just go out and do that. But I do think there are things that we can do. So, I mean, first of all, I just can't wait to like see my friends and not be like, like, you know, the couple of people that I've seen, like you're social distancing with, and you're walking so far. And it's like, and first you're drilling them to be like, well, who have you seen? And where have your kids been? And like, it's like you're going through this whole thing. So it'll be really nice at some point to not have to like have all that angst before you're like connecting with your people.
See people's smiles, because right now we have
Oh
to go
my God.
under my mask and
Right.
smile, right?
No, it's so funny because a guy told me the other day, he said, I could see in your eyes that you're smiling.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh my God, like, I think I have been smiling. I'm trying to smile with my eyes, like, because that's who I am. Like, I always say, like, a smile or a connection with people, like, you could change their day.
Yes.
So I do think that, so I think it's that, like, to be able to connect with people and not have that angst. Of course, I just want to hug, because every time my son comes, like, I'm so used to just like hugging him and smelling him and feeling him. And there's none of that. Like, you know, like, there's just no touch like that in that way. And definitely miss that.
Is there anything singularly, like something you really truly like miss from the old time, like from prior to the pandemic, besides hugging, or anything even in your own life or ritual or anything that you feel like you
I
really?
mean, you know, I definitely miss like our Wednesday night master classes at NOM with that whole community. I definitely miss that. I miss my Friday dance classes with that community. I just miss my communities, you know. I miss going to, you know, Malibu Fitness and seeing all, you know, your people there. I just like, I have all these amazing communities that you know, my husband says I'm like a little bumblebee. Like, when I leave the house, he never knows where I'm going. And I even just miss going, like, I go to the vitamin shop, the vitamin store, and I go and I get my shake there in the morning, but I know everyone because I'm there pretty much the same time as a bunch of other people. And we're just all these like, so there were like social acquaintances. I miss that organicness of just connecting with people from Malibu, you know, and the places I go. I miss our team. I miss our team getting together and to create and then go to lunch and laugh. And, you know, of course, I even miss doing events. You know, I love, love, love doing the women's events that we do. And I miss that. I miss those young people and their curiosity and their energy. And yeah, there's just so many things that I miss for sure. I'll tell you what I don't miss though. I definitely don't miss the traffic of
Oh, me either.
going down PCH at all. I don't like, the other thing is like when you go down PCH, I used to always drive down still do, but and there would be this like brown cloud that would come off of like where LAX was.
Yeah.
So I don't like now it's
like
clean because we don't have so much planes. I mean, the birds, like every time I'm outside, because I do talk, you know, take meetings outside a lot, people are always like, oh my God, Lavinia, the sound of those birds. We never had birds chirping this loud and singing. And I mean, you know, like I could say I definitely, well, I just hope that when we go back, like somehow we're taking in effect like all the beautiful changes that the earth has made, and that we can somehow create some ways to keep that sustained, because it's really been amazing.
Well, they hit us good with great questions. I guess we're just
Good. Okay, good. I see we definitely went over, but it's great. So again, like, thank you so much, Lisa, for doing this. And
thanks for having me. This was
yeah,
so
I love
fun.
it. It's always fun to see you and collaborate and see your smile. And I just want everybody to know, like, this woman really does help put all these together, like all of these. And, you know, she's a big part of behind the scenes in a very big way. So I'm so appreciative for that. And I'm appreciative because, again, the impact that we've made with people, that people really are like, they look forward to. I have one girlfriend text me the other day on Sunday, and she said her boyfriend said to her, "Can we go out, or do you have Lavinia's broadcast today?"
Well trained.
I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, thank you, Danica. Anyway, I love that. And I love the community, and of course, all of our sponsors, and yeah, it's just been great. So grateful. And again, I just hope that these conversations spark awareness, spark consciousness, spark openness, because we all have blind spots that we don't see about ourselves. And the more we're able to discover those blind spots and see, the more we're able to go through life with clarity, and in a more confident, more secure, more uplifted way, when we really start getting in touch with our authentic truth, like who we really are, like who are we, what is the purpose, what really like makes my spirit sing.
Yes.
You know, so once you connect to that, life starts getting very yummy and very juicy. And I will say, it does take some hard work to get there, but it is so worth it. All right, guys, thank you so much. And again, I love Saturdays. What is it called? Pivot? What is it? What is this?
So we played with their different names, but this is basically like getting clarity and just being able to
about boundaries, pivoting.
Prepare to pivot, but with boundaries and
yeah. Yeah, I really love it. I actually started doing the program so that I could get more information. And just in 2 sessions with Allison, I am just like going, wow, like everybody needs to get clarity on this stuff, because it's simple. It doesn't take a lot of, there's no woo woo. It's just concrete, real. You see it, you connect with it, and you're able to make, you know, shifts pretty quickly. So I really love this. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.